Whatsoever you do to the least of my people, that you do unto me.
I'm Bishop William Byrne. The annual Catholic Appeal is our chance to help those in need, the homeless, the hungry, and our partnering organization. Please join me in answering Jesus' call to love your neighbor by donating at diospringfield.org.
Hello and welcome to another summer best of edition of Reel to Reel. I'm Sharon Roulier here with my dad, Jimmy Stefanik. Hi, Dad.
Hi, I saw you somewhere.
Well, we are at Comfort Kitchen and Bar in the Berkshire Hill town of Huntington, and so many of you have been waiting for these summer episodes with my dad helping me out on the show. Are you ready, Dad?
I'm always ready.
I know you are. Good. Well, all right. Our episode this week first aired back on May 30th, and we will watch a few segments and then we'll have a little chat, okay?
Well, let's go on with the show.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
The bishops are asking Catholics to oppose physician-assisted suicide. I'm Carolee McGrath. I'll have the story coming up.
Lunch for 200? No problem for the volunteers of the Berkshire Food Project. I'm Kathy Harrington with the story.
I'm Steve Kiltonic at Our Lady of Peace in Turners Falls, where a former classmate of Robert Prevost speaks about his relationship with the first American Pope.
It's all coming up for you next on Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel as we close out the month of May. We begin tonight with a look at physician-assisted suicide in Massachusetts, which is gaining traction among lawmakers. This is a concern for the Catholic bishops of this state, including our own Bishop William Byrne, who is asking the faithful to call their representatives to oppose this legislation, which is against church teaching on the dignity of life. Carolee McGrath has our story.
Great are you, Lord.
Back in January, Bishop William Byrne celebrated the Mass for Life to commemorate the anniversary of Roe v. Wade, which legalized abortion in the United States. But in his homily, he spoke of other threats to the dignity of life, including physician-assisted suicide.
An elderly person that they're trying to say, oh, you really should have a duty to die so that you're not a burden. No one is a burden. All life is a treasure.
And with just a few weeks left of the legislative session, Bishop Byrne and other bishops of Massachusetts are calling on Catholics to oppose physician-assisted suicide, which is being considered by lawmakers. There are two bills, one in the House, House Bill 2505, and one in the Senate, 1486. Both are called an act relative to end-of-life concerns. Both are in committee, and lawmakers have the next several weeks to consider this legislation, which would allow a physician to provide a lethal drug to a person diagnosed with less than 6 months to live.
A true investment needs to be made not in killing people, but in better health care, in palliative care, to make sure that we kill the pain, not the person.
The Massachusetts Catholic Conference, which represents the bishops of Massachusetts, point out the following flaws in the physician-assisted suicide legislation. First of all, it's a deadly prescription, and the diagnosis of less than 6 months to live could be wrong. They point to countless individuals who have outlived that diagnosis. Secondly, there are no real safeguards. A vulnerable person who is physically disabled, depressed, or fears being a burden may be subject to pressure. And lastly, the bishops say there are misplaced priorities. The primary focus of elected officials should be dedicated to legislation providing quality health care, mental health care, and palliative care to the sick and dying. Father Dan Pekalik is the director of pro-life activities for the Diocese of Springfield.
There could easily become this push that the minute you're not functional, capable, productive, that you should consider ending your life. Or society will apply that pressure and say, don't put a burden on the healthcare system. Don't put a burden on your family.
Physician-assisted suicide was narrowly defeated in Massachusetts in 2012 in a ballot initiative. Since then, it has been reintroduced in the legislature several times. Proponents call it compassionate care.
It's called death with dignity and compassionate care, all these euphemisms to try and make something really that is actually murder look, just like the abortion issue, look somehow acceptable, when in fact it's not. God is the author of life. We have the capacity to help people die with dignity that doesn't involve killing them.
Currently, Washington, D.C. and the following states allow physician-assisted suicide: Oregon, Washington, Montana, Vermont, California, Colorado, Hawaii, New Jersey, Maine, New Mexico, and just recently, New York. The bishops are urging Catholics to call or email their state senator or representative to voice opposition. Reporting for Reel to Reel in Springfield, I'm Carolee McGrath.
And your parish should be making an informational flyer available in your parish bulletin this weekend. We also have it listed for you at diospringfield.org. This year, the North Adams-based Berkshire Food Project received a grant from the annual Catholic Appeal for the first time. The nonprofit relies on a community network to address food insecurity in a financially stressed region. With just 3 employees, 2 of them part-time, along with more than 100 volunteers, nutritious hot lunches are provided 5 days a week. Kathy Harrington introduces us now to this 40-year-old ministry that is now an annual Catholic Appeal grant recipient.
Good morning. How are you today?
Suzanne Boyle joins a team of volunteers each Monday at the Berkshire Food Project in North Adams, setting up, preparing, and serving a nutritious lunch. Working alongside Boyle are other retirees, and then there's Kurt Christian, a Drury High School senior bound for the Culinary Institute of America in the fall.
I'm here 3 days a week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
The volunteers are really the heartbeat of the whole operation, and I never know day to day what crew will be here, but there are some regulars that are here for sure.
On the job for just 3 months, the former U.S. Army Reserve Sergeant thinks on her feet when it comes to the menu.
We never quite know what we're going to get in the door for donations, so I make what I can based off of those donations. This morning we had about 10 pounds of green beans come in, and I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with those, but I'll find a home for them this week.
Catherine Benson is the third staff member. As project assistant, she coordinates the lunch meal, tracks guest numbers, organizes thrice weekly home deliveries, and the distribution of extra food items across multiple agencies. Benson is the 2026 Unsung Hero, according to the Nonprofit Center of the Berkshires.
After his resurrection, Jesus asked Peter 3 times, "Do you love me?" And 3 times, Peter answered, "Yes, Lord." 3 times, Jesus told him, "Then feed my sheep." The Berkshire Food Project has been answering that call for 40 years.
It all started in 1986, 5 miles west of North Adams, on the campus of Williams College. A group of students noticed a regional shift in employment from manufacturing to a service economy that resulted in rising unemployment, underemployment, homelessness, and food insecurity.
We've seen a lot of new faces, people that I don't recognize, but that's great. So, the word is out. They come here for a meal.
The numbers prove the need is growing, from 15,000 people served in 2023 to nearly double that last year.
I knew we were not the richest area in the Berkshires, but I do also know that we handle what we can, and if we need something, most of the time our neighbors will help us out with it.
I've been here for a long time. They're very healthy, they're very great. I like coming here every lunchtime.
This is the only place I could eat out at. I known these guys for a while. Basically, they're amazing.
And from Bob, a volunteer who stopped in for lunch.
Well, they're healthy. The price is right. And, well, I I've been working with them, so I know it's an honest, wonderful meal that they provide, and people are pretty happy with it, I think, here. And we've been noticing over the last couple of years especially that the crowds have been growing and growing, that there's more need.
Combating food insecurity is just part of the mission. It's also about fighting social isolation. External agencies are sometimes on hand during lunch to share information about resources that guests may need. As Berkshire Food Project helps its neighbors through challenging economic times, local restaurants are pitching in too, recently closing for one night as their chefs competed against one another at Superbite, a fundraiser that helps to ensure the lunches will continue. In North Adams, I'm Kathy Harrington for Reel to Reel.
To learn more about the community impact of the Berkshire Food Project, visit their website. We have a link for you at iobserve.org. And still to come on Reel to Reel, Steve Kiltonick sits down with Father Raymond Lugos, an Augustinian priest who went to Villanova with Robert Prevost, the man who would become Pope Leo XIV. It's all still ahead on Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you.
Our family is made up of every race. We are young and old, rich and poor, men and women, sinners and saints. Our family has spanned the centuries and the globe. With God's grace, we started hospitals to care for the sick. We establish orphanages and help the poor. We are the largest charitable organization on the planet, bringing relief and comfort to those in need. We educate more children than any other scholarly or religious institution. We developed the scientific method and laws of evidence. We founded the college system. We defend the dignity of all human life and uphold marriage and family. Cities were named after our revered saints who navigated a sacred path before us. Guided by the Holy Spirit, we compiled the Bible. We are transformed by sacred scripture and sacred tradition, which have consistently guided us for 2,000 years. We are the Catholic Church. With over 1 billion in our family, sharing in the sacraments and fullness of the Christian faith. For centuries, we have prayed for you and our world, every hour of every day, whenever we celebrate the Mass. Jesus himself laid the foundation for our faith when he said to Peter, the first pope, "You are rock, and upon this rock I will build my church." For over 2,000 years, we've had an unbroken line of shepherds, guiding the Catholic Church with love and truth in a confused and hurting world. And in this world filled with chaos, hardship, and pain, it's comforting to know that some things remain consistent, true, and strong, our Catholic faith, and the eternal love that God has for all creation. If you've been away from the Catholic Church, we invite you to take another look. Visit CatholicsComeHome.org today. Ours is one family, united in Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. We are Catholic. Welcome home.
Whatsoever you do to the least of my people, that you do unto me.
I'm Bishop William Byrne. The annual Catholic Appeal is our chance to help those in need, the homeless, the hungry, and our partnering organization. Please join me in answering Jesus' call to love your neighbor by donating at diospringfield.org.
That you do unto
I knew about Providence Place, and so I came here and checked it out and said, this is for me. I made a lot of friends here. You know, the whole place is a very, very nice place to live. I really feel at home here.
Call today.
I think one of the best parts of Providence Place is the peace you feel when you walk in. And they do have a lot of things going on here. Puzzle table, card games, outings. It's really been a great place for me. I'm glad I'm here.
Call today.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. Take time out of your busy day and join us Sunday morning at 10. We will welcome Father John Chrysostom Tibikanirwa, pastor of Holy Name Parish in Springfield, as our Mass celebrant and mark the 18th Sunday in Ordinary Time. The Chalice of Salvation this Sunday morning at 10, right here on 22 News WWLP.
You are watching Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. Here again is your Reel to Reel host, Sharon Roulier.
So as I mentioned at the top of the program, I'm here with Jimmy Stefanik, my dad, and on this first weekend of August, we thought we'd take a road trip up Route 20 to Comfort Kitchen and Bar right here in Huntington, and it's one of your favorite restaurants, isn't it?
It is, because I know the owner. He's a good football fan.
Yeah, and he's...
of the Patriots.
That's right.
He's teaching me a lot about football.
He is, and I do believe that we spend a lot of time here because if you want to know a secret, the owner is my fiance, and many of you might have seen me waiting on a few tables here on Friday and Saturday nights, right, Dad?
I don't know. I don't come here on Friday and Saturday night.
Oh, sometimes you do.
Yes, and it's packed. Well, actually, they got a good fish dinner on Friday.
They do. So Mike, my fiance, and the chef are pretty good cooks, right?
Oh, I think so. I'd like to have them cook. Well, I better not say. Well, anyway, they know how to make meatloaf really good.
Yeah, you like the meatloaf here?
Yeah, with gravy on it.
Yeah, they have a lot of good comfort food on the menu.
Well, yes. The menu is kind of short for this kind of restaurant, but it's compatible with a lot of bigger restaurants.
Yeah, it's a really good spot up here in the hill towns for people to come because there aren't any other restaurants in Huntington. It's the only one.
That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, so this building's very historical. It's been around a long time, right?
That's really old.
Yeah.
And before he became president, Calvin Coolidge was the mayor of Northampton. He was also a lawyer and was on the campaign trail running for state senator and then governor. But anyway, he would come here with some of the judges from Northampton when this was a tavern.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So looking around the pictures on the walls here, there's so much history in this town. And, you know, you remember about the good old days back with the river and people coming along and fishing. And you have some stories about that too, right?
Yes. I like the idea of coming on Route 20 straight to Huntington and following the Westfield River. A lot of the little scenes that I go by, I remember fishing and catching a big trout. Also, Ted Williams used to fish here.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, but I never saw him.
Well, how do you know he fished here?
Well, I got stories. Some of them are exaggerated.
Yeah. Well,
So Ted Williams was a slugger of the Red Sox. He was the last one to hit over 400. On the last day he was at bat, it went up to 405.
Wow.
And I like Ted. I like listening to him on the radio. There was no TV at that time. And at the Korean War, he flew the Grumman Hellfighter, and for 5 years.
Sure, it was a lot of action
He was a patriot, and he was a good Red Sox player. And of course, we miss him because nobody can replace Ted Williams.
All right, Dad. So we've been talking a lot. You getting hungry? You ready to order?
Yes, I'm ready.
Oh, good. Well, look who has the menus. It's Mike Damaris, my fiance. Hi. So we're pretty familiar with this menu, though, aren't we?
Yeah, I like the word CKB, meatloaf.
You know what that stands for?
Yeah, Comfort Inn.
Comfort Kitchen and Bar.
And a mushroom sauce.
Okay, and mashed potatoes?
Mashed potatoes with a lot of gravy in there, big scoop. Okay. And string beans if you got them.
Okay, fresh.
All right, and I'll have the salmon special, please. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so while they're cooking, we'll watch another segment, okay?
That'll be fine with me. You're in charge.
Well, I thought you were in charge.
Not me. I'm just extra.
You're extra. You're a good extra.
I'm the only extra.
You are watching Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you.
In the 1970s, long before the world would be introduced to Pope Leo XIV, Robert Prevost was a seminary student at Villanova University and Augustinian College just outside of Philadelphia. Father Raymond Lugos attended Villanova during the same time where his path would cross with the future pontiff. Recently, before an enthusiastic crowd in Turner's Falls, Father Lugos spoke about the man he knew at Villanova as Robert Prevost, later as an Augustinian leader, and today, Pope Leo XIV. Steve Kiltonick has the story.
When Pope Leo XIV was elected the first American pope, he had the enthusiastic support of a large group of proud fellow Augustinian priests back home in the United States. Father Raymond de Lugos was one of those priests who knew Pope Leo when both attended Villanova University. Father de Lugos has served as the Vice President for Mission and Ministry at the Augustinian-run Merrimack College for the past 18 years. In celebration of Our Lady of Peace's 20th anniversary, Father de Lugos came to the parish on May 21st to share some insight into his 52-year friendship with Pope Leo. Then Seminarian Prevost belonged to the Augustinians' Midwest province in Chicago, while Father de Lugos was from the Eastern province in Philadelphia. In 1973, he transferred to Villanova with 30 other seminarians after the Augustinians' Midwest College closed. Father de Lugos began a year later.
But we did know each other. We would socialize together and that sort of thing. But primarily, we all had to take the same philosophy courses.
Both also sat in the same German existentialism classes.
So I was in 2 or 3 classes with Bob Prevost. And he was a very nice guy, very smart, very intelligent, very humble, kind of quiet.
He was ordained a priest in '82, while Father de Lugos was ordained in '83. After both started their ministry teaching high school, they didn't have much contact. Father Prevost went to Peru as a missionary for 3 years and studied canon law in Rome before returning to Peru. He was then elected Provincial of the Midwest Province and elevated to Prior General of the Augustinian Order in 2001, a position he held for 12 years.
During that time, I probably saw him most frequently because he would come to our chapter meetings every 4 years. So that's where it's in those kinds of settings that you'd find yourself at the lunch table with him, and no one would think anything of it.
As Prior General, Father Prevost traveled to many continents, which prepared him for his eventual role as Pope.
He belongs to the world, and he's comfortable with all the diversity in the world and understanding it and being able to listen to it carefully.
After his term expired in 2013, Father Prevost was named Formation Director in Chicago before Pope Francis appointed him Bishop of Chiclayo, Peru in 2015. When Bishop Prevost was elevated by Pope Francis to Cardinal Prevost in 2023, then made head of the dicastery for bishops, Father de Lugos started to wonder.
For the first time, the thought went through my mind, almost immediately dismissed, like, could he be? And he's an American. No. That pretty much, in my mind, had discounted him until he walked out on the balcony on May 8th last year.
When the conclave convened, Cardinal Prevost was not well known, even by the American cardinals. But what they ultimately saw in him was very appealing.
His gentleness, his kindness, his humility, his intelligence, and his willingness to stand up. That combination of personality, warmth, the ability to listen to others.
When Pope Leo first appeared in St. Peter's Square, Father DeLugos was speechless.
My mouth dropped, and I was like, my mouth dropped. I was absolutely thrilled, didn't know quite what this meant for us, and I actually got a little scared. It's like, oh dear, one of us is driving the bus. Are we going to be worthy of him?
Father DeLugos believes Pope Leo has done terrific after his first year on the job.
I'm surprised at how well he has fit into the role. He looks the part. He carries himself very well. We know him as a pretty serious guy, but we're seeing an awful lot of warmth as he's encountering people pastorally.
Father DeLugos says he's witnessed 3 different smiles from the Pope: the formal smile, the pastoral smile, and the fraternal smile.
Every once in a while, I kind of notice a smirk, the kind of smirk that we are used to seeing around our dinner tables, as we're talking about how something is absurd.
In those moments, Father DeLugos feels a true connection as an Augustinian brother. While on a pilgrimage to Italy in March with Merrimack students, Father DeLugos met Pope Leo at the Pontiff's request at the Augustinian headquarters in Rome.
I hadn't seen him in 10 years, and very warm greeting, very friendly, and I'm like struggling because, I'm almost supposed to call him Your Holiness, and all I'm saying is Bob. Our students were blown away, basically saying, he's just like all the other Augustinians. Just very down to earth, very human.
We already know a few of Pope Leo's passions, like the Chicago White Sox. Father DeLugos added tennis as the Pope's favorite sport. Another beloved pastime goes back to his seminarian days.
He was the one who would drive from Chicago to Villanova and back again when there were breaks from classes, and he just loved driving.
While celebrating the birthday of the Augustinian Prior General, Pope Leo commented,
"In order to be the Pope, you have to give up a lot of things. He said, but one thing I will never give up is being an Augustinian."
As pontiff with an enormous responsibility to the world's 1.4 billion Catholics, Pope Leo XIV has never forgotten his spiritual roots. For Real to Real, I'm Steve Kiltonick.
Now, a year into his papacy, Americans continue to be drawn to Pope Leo for his energy, happiness, joy, and message of peace. It's hoped that the Leo effect will spread from Chicago across the United States and then around the world. And for this week, that's our summer best of edition of Real to Real. Be sure to keep up with all of the latest news on the Catholic Church, both here in the Diocese of Springfield and around the world, by heading over to iobserve.org. And check us out on Facebook at Catholic Communications. And I'll be back with this guy over here next week as we continue to look at some of our favorite episodes of last season, right, Dad?
I hope so.
Oh, look what's here.
Oh, boy.
This looks so good.
Chunk.
Oh my gosh. Salmon special with watermelon and gazpacho.
Oh, look at that. Just what I ordered.
Thank you so much. That looks so good. All right, well, before you dig in, why don't we read the last line over here before you take a bite, okay?
Tune in next week for another best of edition of Real to Real, your window on the world around you.
Perfect. Good job. I think you're hired.
How much do I get?
You get a meatloaf dinner. How about that?
That's better than anything.
It looks good, huh? All right, well, your favorite meatloaf and this salmon. Chef Dan does such a good job with everything. He's look at how pretty this is.
The word is proficient.
Proficient?
Real to Real is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.